Hello and welcome to this video, this next episode of Microsoft Fabric product team interviews. I'm Reza Rad, and today I have the pleasure to be with Christian Wade, Mr. Clicky, Clicky, Draggy, Droppy. Hey, Christian, how are you?
I'm very well, Reza. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. The last interview we had with you was quite well received. A lot of people liked that. And we are very happy to have this conversation with you again. I really appreciate that you gave us your time. So before starting talking about the features, announcement, things like that, can you please introduce yourself to our audience, who you are, what is your role in the team, which areas of the product you are leading?
Yes, absolutely, Reza. So I kind of own, I guess you could say, enterprise BI in Power BI, right? Versus self-service BI, which I don't really own. But there's obviously overlap between the features and the PM work and everything. But at a high level, that's how we kind of delineate. An enterprise BI has become very, very relevant recently with Fabric because there will be some self-service users that create artifacts in Fabric for sure. But the first batch of the big customers that we're seeing that are really driving adoption at massive scale are predominantly the big enterprise customers. So for Power BI to be a first-class citizen of Fabric, we've kind of come full circle, and we are now focusing a lot on a lot of these enterprise BI features. Our lineage, our heritage is in enterprise BI. We've been, market leaders for multiple decades. We've been, in the leaders quadrant in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for I think 17 years now.
Yeah,
I'm losing
it
track now,
is
but
old
it's
news
like
now.
17 years ago, it was all about enterprise BI. Well, we've come full circle, and the key driver for that now is Fabric. So it's a good place to be, and that's the area that I own is enterprise BI and Power BI,
That
with
sounds
Fabric
great.
growth and Fabric enablement as a key scenario. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and I like the way that you explain it, like with the term of enterprise BI, because with Microsoft toolset we can use Power BI, mainly like Power BI Desktop, to build self-service, like build the model inside the same solution that we have the visualization, things like that. Whereas if it is enterprise BI, normally we have a separate semantic model, we have a separate like reports with live connection. It comes with a lot of different architecture, different setup, and that is the area of what your team is focusing on, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. That even before Fabric, we were seeing a significant amount of customers migrating from, say, Azure Analysis Services to
Mhm.
Power BI Premium Gen 2 because of the scalability of the Gen 2 architecture, and the kind of enterprise features that we were starting to put into Premium for semantic models. Whereas now with Fabric, we're seeing a significant that migration has picked up, right? And one feature on that note that we're working on for the Tyndall view is that you will be able to migrate an Azure Analysis Services model to Fabric and open it in Power BI Desktop in the near future, right? You'll be able to open it. They may not have everything enabled, but we have the Tyndall view now. The Tyndall view gives you access to all of the analysis services metadata, including what has not historically been kind of native to Power BI Desktop.
Mm.
Your partitions, your legacy data
Translations.
sources, and translations, and things like
Mm.
that, right? You'll be able to use the Tyndall view for those, and we will not block you on opening that model that you migrated from Azure Analysis Services, and it will be supported, right? It won't be, like, oh, you're doing something that's not supported. So that's in the very near future.
That
So
is amazing.
that's
Yeah, that would be well received because I know a lot of customers who are already using Azure Analysis Services, and this ability to migrate it easier would be well received. Thank you. Really
yeah,
looking forward
it gets
to this.
them, more aligned with
Mm.
the Microsoft BI product roadmap, which is obviously as a key workload in Fabric and the future of Fabric. So it gets you one step closer to that, right? So, we
Perfect.
haven't invested in Azure and Ad Services for many years. No new regions or anything. The new hardware upgrades and everything get focused on Fabric, for example. The perf and everything just incrementally gets better, plus all the other features we do. So being in Fabric means you're more aligned with the Microsoft BI product roadmap.
Awesome. That's great. Amazing. So talking about those, we had the FabCon a few weeks ago and lots of announcements, tons of announcements, different areas of Microsoft Fabric, especially on areas related to enterprise BI, semantic model experience, and all of that. Let's focus on that. What are the main favorite areas? Of course, you own that part of product, so you cannot pick any favorite, but what are the most important announcements that you like to talk about?
Yeah, so we did announce a few significant features. So we are continuing to invest, and we will continue to invest in Direct Lake because Direct Lake is a key enabler for Fabric with the one copy vision and one lake security, and just having Power BI as a first class citizen of Fabric, where you can have massive volumes of data in Fabric and avoid lengthy refreshes, which are a management overhead for import mode, which we love import mode, but with Direct Lake, you don't need to perform the refresh. You still use the VertiPack query engine. So Direct Lake is a key enabler of that one copy vision. You don't need to introduce new points of failure. You don't need to. You can optimize your your CUs in terms of, okay, I've done the data prep already in the lake. I don't need to do such extensive refreshes to copy the data again, right? So Direct Lake is very strategic for us and for the customer. There are still a few things that we will continue to invest in. We're in this for the long haul. We're going to continue to invest in Direct Lake and fill any modeling gaps, and continue to invest in performance. And so one of those key investments that we just shipped at the Fabric conference at FabCon Vegas is the ability to create Direct Lake models from Power BI Desktop, right? So you can now just select your lakehouse in One Lake Catalog or your warehouse, and we'll soon work with all of the Fabric data artifacts, and then you can create a Direct Lake model directly in Power BI Desktop, which introduces the concept of Power BI Desktop editing a remote model or a live edit instead of a live connect, where you have a report that's connected to a semantic model in the service. And instead of doing local semantic model, you have this concept of a live edit where you are editing the semantic model that's in the service. Kind of like if you open or you create a Word document in a SharePoint site, you never save it on your local desktop machine, right? It's that kind of concept. So we've introduced this live edit concept. One day we'll expand that to import models. There's many customers who've wanted this for import models for a long time, where you have large import models that don't fit on the user's desktop machine, things like that. So we've introduced this live edit kind of remote modeling concept, and you can now create a Direct Lake model. It's in the service. You can live edit it, come back later and reopen it. And another thing we had shipped with that release is the ability to have multiple One Lake sources in the same Direct Lake semantic model. So you can get your conform dimensions from a data warehouse, and you can get some fact data from another lake house, etc. And you can combine them all into a single semantic model, which is a key enabler. And we're going to continue to invest in Direct Lake and make it more and more reusable for as many scenarios as possible.
That is amazing. And what I also like about this is that with that we also have this ability of kind of like version control in both like Fabric Git integration, and also that version control that you introduced even in Power BI workspaces, that we keep the version of the modeling. So combination of these two also help if we have any live edits, so that we keep the changes somewhere. Definitely amazing feature. I'm sure a lot of people would love that. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
So what we are saying that in Direct Lake, if we built that model previously in the website in Microsoft Fabric portal, we can now use the full power of Power BI Desktop to do the same thing, but with live connection to that Direct Lake model that we have up in the website, which is
Yeah,
really
that's right, Reza. So we want to reach more semantic model creators, right? Previously, to create a direct lake model, you'd have to do it from the Lakehouse Warehouse page, which is great if you're a Lakehouse Warehouse practitioner. There's a very strong use case for that. But these customer organizations tend to be large organizations. There are other developers in other parts of the organizations, or even power analysts that would want to create a semantic model leveraging data in one lake and the efficiency of Direct Lake for that purpose, right? And
correct.
so putting it in Power BI Desktop, they may only have read-only access to the Lakehouse, for example, right? And so being able to reach those users, we need to go through Power BI Desktop, right? Power BI Desktop is everyone's favorite tool. Everyone's familiar with it. So that's the idea there. And and the ability to combine data from multiple one lake sources is key to that. And we're going to
Mhm.
continue investing in this area, right? Like, Marco Russo did a session at FabCon Vegas where he talked about the scenario where I'm one of these users, right? That maybe I'm a power user or I'm a developer, but I only have read-only access to the Lakehouse, and I can
Mhm.
create my Direct Lake model from Power BI Desktop now. But maybe I want to do some light data prep to maybe some aesthetic data changes for my dimension. Typically, those are going to be for the dimension tables for things like sort columns, or maybe I want to add user hierarchies, or I want to do some light data prep. I can make those tables be import mode. We will eventually get to full modeling parity with import mode from Direct Lake, but in the meantime, being able to make the smaller dimension tables import mode really unblocks many of these scenarios, right? Because it's typically your dimension tables that you're going to put, your user hierarchies that you're going to put your sort columns on and things like that. You can keep your multi-billion row fact tables in Direct Lake mode, and that's where the real value of Direct Lake is at, right? So we're shipping composite models, Direct Lake plus import and Direct Query for that matter, in the same semantic model. We're shipping that in XMLA only mode first, very soon at a conference that is coming up very soon. You can derive which one that might be. And
Mhm.
but it'll be XMLA only, which means that you can use Tablet Editor and the community tools to create those semantic models. And we will add support for creating and editing those models in Power BI tooling uh, this calendar year. We're working on that right now. So I don't want to give a firm timeline right now, but it's not very far away. So as I
That
say,
is
composite models for Direct Lake is coming soon, and that will be a key enabler. Yeah.
that is amazing, and that would be really helpful feature for a lot of people to make better,
Yeah.
even more use of Direct Lake. That is fantastic. Also, you mentioned in the middle of your explanation that the one lake security, which includes like setting up security all the way in the lake house or down in one lake and getting that all propagated into the semantic model. And that feature, if I'm correct, is available with Direct Lake mode semantic models, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So that's in private preview right now. It's going to be available public preview. It's easy to get on the private preview if people who are watching this want, and it will be very soon available in full public preview. And it works great with Direct Lake. Like, we are one of the key workloads that will work with One Lake security, especially the new kind of iteration on Direct Lake that we shipped from the one that you can create from Power BI Desktop, the kind of Direct Lake that is natively on One Lake. That all works very well with One Security. So again, this is the direction that we're going in. This is a key differentiator for these large enterprise customers, right? It's kind of like the one copy promise, which is that, oh, you don't need to refresh your data and create copies of it, and even not just from in semantic models, but in generally speaking, you can just have one copy of the data in one lake and have all of the Fabric workloads use that same copy of the data. That promotes a single version of the truth, that reduces the kind of data integration tax, that reduces points of failure. It's just a more efficient architecture from the customer standpoint. And a similar kind of value proposition exists for security rules, right? You don't want to have, traditionally you'd be integrating all of these products from a bunch of different vendors, and each copy of the data would have a copy of the security rule, for example, row level security, object level security, etc. And you need to replicate that security rule across the stack. So we are, the only end-to-end analytics platform that can fully provide that one copy of your one lake security that is defined once in the lake, that is propagated across all of the Fabric workloads, including the semantic model, and that's in direct lake mode, right? And then we will just observe that one lake security rule, as would data warehouse, as would lakehouse, as would Kusto databases, and everything else.
That's amazing. And that is really helpful for customers because they don't have to replicate their security detail in the semantic model as well as like in lakehouse or underlying structure. Fantastic. We also had some amazing updates on notebook semantic link integration. I mean, we shouldn't call it probably integration, but some of the notebook features that we added in a semantic model, that you can open up these notebooks and see some performance analyzing of the semantic model, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So notebooks in Fabric are becoming very, very popular. They're kind of like the Swiss Army knife. They're not just for traditional kind of data science scenarios. They use them for automation. They work great with semantic models. We want to continue this kind of notebook and semantic model better together story. And Semantic Link Labs has really, pioneered that story because there's so much you can do now from the notebook with Semantic Link Labs. So we've just what we've done is we've just built on the work that the Semantic Link Labs people like Michael Kowalski and Marcus built, which is we just put a button right there, literally in 2 clicks, right? It's so simple that in 2 clicks you can click on a button in the web modeling experience that then instantiates a notebook with a Semantic Link Labs template that's already connected to that semantic model. So literally with 2 clicks, you click on the button, it instantiates the notebook, and then you can hit run, and then you do your best practice analyzer, or you do your memory analysis, or and we can add more, and there's some gallery there, and etc. So it's just making that notebook, Semantic Link Labs, and semantic model better together story much more discoverable and easy to get started with. And then you can, of course, save that notebook back to your Fabric workspace. And it's just showing off the power that's available there. So that's extremely popular. We're getting a lot of usage on that feature right now.
Yeah, it is indeed very, very helpful, very powerful. And I liked your explanation that it is just simple 2 clicks, which is actually like you open the semantic model and then you have that button that brings up notebook. So when we talk about notebook, a lot of people who are not like data engineers, data scientists, they get frustrated, like this is not my area. But the way that this feature is implemented, you just open it and this is the notebook. It has the code in it. You just have to run it, right? It's just as simple as that, which is amazing.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. Really appreciate that. We also had some updates on Tyndall preview and comparing Tyndall codes with each other, if I'm right, correct?
Yeah. So we are we're working on Tyndall View to GA it, and obviously, so Tyndall is a type of model definition language. It's a foundational enabler of the Tyndall View, right? Which is in Power BI Desktop. It's in public preview. and we're working on getting that to general availability. But it's also the semantic model metadata kind of language that that replaces tabular model scripting language, right? So it serves many purposes. It serves the kind of Git integration purpose for developer mode when you use a Power BI project that serializes the semantic model metadata to a bunch of TIMDL files on disk that you can commit to your repo and use for automated CI/CD deployments, as well as the TIMDL view. Now, the TIMDL view, it's getting all of the cool kind of, because that TIMDL view, as well as the DAX query view, it's actually the same IDE as VS Code. It's the Monaco IDE, right? Which is why you get so much of the stuff that we get, like the breadcrumbs, the code lens actions, obviously the IntelliSense, and all of that stuff that we get is kind of built into this Monaco IDE, which is the same one from VS Code, right? So then TIMDL View benefits from that. It gives a really strong kind of developer experience that the pros are kind of familiar with. And the thing about the TIMDL View, it's a different mental model to using TIMDL for your developer mode Power BI projects that are serialized to the files for Git and CI/CD integration, right? The TIMDL View is more like the mental model of TIMDL scripting in SSMS, if you're familiar with that, right?
Yes.
Where you're going to script out the semantic model, you want to do automation, you want to do changes to your semantic model, but it's far superior. And by the way, we know that the usage of SQL Server Management Studio SSMS with TIMDL is still very popular to this day, and it's been around forever, right? And but TIMDL View is a superior version for that scenario where you get the proper syntax highlight and all of those features that I mentioned, a proper IDE, and you can save those TIMDL scripts alongside your semantic model for easy access. And so it's very popular. I honestly, when I do my keynote demos and stuff, for example, and I'm preparing my semantic model, I do everything in TIMDL now. It's like much more efficient now. It's like a code first modeling mental model that as I say, you use it for modeling, but it's ultimately based on a scripting mental model. But I do it all with TIMDL View now. It's so much more efficient, right? I can do stuff in bulk. I can, and we're gonna, but we'll soon be adding Copilot to there, just like you get GitHub Copilot. You'll be able to have a Copilot in the TIMDL View. It's just so efficient. It's just really, really a pleasure to work with. I love it. TIMDL View is awesome.
Correct. Yes, and kind of like the way that I explain it to some people is that like I compare it with what M scripting is with Power Query Editor. Like Power Query Editor is like the UI that you have all these fantastic features, but if you want to do everything, like use the full power of Power Query, you have to go to the scripting side. Same with the Power BI semantic model. There are things you can do in the semantic model that the UI might not have that feature yet, such as translation, such as partition, things like that, with ability to have that scripting behind the TIMDL and previously the semantic modeling language. Now we have this ability, which is fantastic, and that is the area that is progressing, as you mentioned, with the TIMDL view and the ability of that.
Yeah. Exactly. It serves so many purposes, including, as you said, the ability to modify semantic model metadata that wasn't historically native to Power BI Desktop, which means that, as we discussed earlier, the Azure Analysis Services migrated models can be opened in Power BI Desktop. You can make changes to them in the TIMDL view. So it opens up a bunch of new possibilities. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. Is there any other updates that we haven't talked about that you would like to mention?
So let's see. We will be there's the let's see. We could talk about. We're going to be doing some performance enhancements for modeling. That kind of doesn't kind of frees up the UI while you make these modeling changes, because that problem becomes a little bit worse when you're doing the live edit remote models, because it's going to commit your modeling operation to a remote semantic model in the service. So we're going to do that asynchronously, right? So that's coming soon. So with a large model with like 50 tables and 1,000 measures, even if it's local, sometimes it can be a bit slow, a bit sluggish. So this asynchronous commit is gonna help with that. We're working on that. We're
That is
working on direct lake performance enhancements, some of which is a bit too early to share the go to in the weeds on. But yeah, we're really focusing on this cold cache query perf
awesome.
scenario. So we're gonna do some improvements there this year. Let's see. Some other interesting things are. Did you see about that translytical task flows
Yes, yeah,
thing?
that is definitely an amazing feature with the
Yeah, yeah,
Fabric database behind the scene functions to
yeah,
update. And yeah,
yeah,
that is amazing. I'm sure a lot of people would love that. That is like when I posted
yeah. And I mean,
that
that's going to
update in
be
LinkedIn, everyone came and say, hey, I want this, I want this now.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be super cool because, you can think of it as like, oh, I want to process a customer order or something, and you click a button, you click the customer, it picks up the filter context, it passes the customer ID and calls the function, and it maybe there's some other user input that you say priority shipping or whatever it is, and you click the button and it processes the order. That's your standard use case. There's a ton of other use cases that we haven't even imagined yet. Like the things running C# or Python in the background, right? You'll be able to do many creative things that are kind of tightly
Yes,
integrated with the Power BI report experience, right? So that's very exciting.
that is amazing.
Um, and yeah, and we're working on all gaps, the replacement for workspace apps. Lets you have multiple apps per workspace. Eventually it will allow you to combine artifacts from other workspaces. It has a bunch of additional customization options. It's going to be it's Git, it supports Git integration, deployment pipelines, and it also will support permission propagation, where you have an app with some reports and some semantic models and some notebooks. It supports Fabric items like notebooks and real-time dashboards and things like that. But then you can assign access to, we're working on audiences for all gaps, where you can assign access to users to the app, and it will propagate to the underlying objects, assuming you have
Yes,
reshare permission on the underlying objects, of course. But that just makes the permission management story so much simpler, right? Because with Fabric, it's like you need, with one lake security, the user's identity is passed all the way through the architecture, right? It's much more kind of integrated, kind of single sign-on story. So that permission propagation becomes more important, right? So we're working on that for all gaps, and we hope to GA that in the not too distant future. So yeah, those are some of the key things that come to mind.
that is amazing. So it is really great to see that how this product has shaped from the days of like SQL Server analysis services 2000, like
Yeah.
25 years ago now, to what it is, which is really like the core of a lot of enterprise BI project. Amazing work. What would be the best way for people to reach out to you? We'll put definitely the LinkedIn URL down below, but would that be the best place to connect with
Yeah,
you?
LinkedIn and X stroke Twitter. Love to hear from you. Yeah, I have a phenomenal team. People like Rui Romano, Zoe Douglas are some of the well-known ones on my team, and there are others as well. Emily, Lisa is very well becoming very well known now. Yeah, so we'd love to hear from you all. We want to learn from the community, what the community needs, ideas for enhancing the product. Yeah, and we're at an exciting time now where Fabric is the future. You occasionally get these kind of seismic shifts in the landscape, right? Like when we launched Tabular when we were already market leaders with multidimensional. It was like, oh no, we're going to introduce a new one, Tableau. Like, well, what about and look at it now. Look at Tableau now. It's like central to Power BI and to Fabric and with Direct Lake and everything, right? And or premium to Fabric. You get these kind of seismic shifts in the landscape, and we follow through on them, and that's the just a characteristic of innovation, right? That we are constantly innovating. We're not going to just rest on our laurels. We're going to keep innovating and keep pushing forward. And you're going to see that, and you see this also with Copilot as well, being tightly integrated. Not like you obviously got Copilot for DAX Query View. We will introduce Copilot for the Tyndall View. We've got a bunch of Copilot enablement and the Copilot enabled features, but then just the whole kind of new paradigm of consumers consuming data through a chat experience, finding the right artifact, based on the relevancy signals. Because these large organizations, you have thousands of artifacts. So leading the business user to the right data asset in Fabric and having a chat-enabled consumption experience is going to be huge for us. So yeah, we're constantly innovating. It's very exciting, and so that's where we are at the moment. Yeah.
That is amazing work, and great to see the vision and how this is still going to be improving even better and better. For our audience, if you have any ideas you want to share with the team, of course, we have the ideas website. I'll put the link down in the description below. That is a place that you can go and put any ideas that you have. Everyone can go and write their ideas, and just make sure that you write it with the right tag. You set it with the right tag so that the right team is looking at it. Christian did. Anyone else in his team, they will be watching that space. So if you have ideas, it will be seen. It may not be implemented right away because they, of course, have pipelines, priorities, and they have those. But at some point, it will get into the pipeline and it will be shipped, which is amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for plugging that on my behalf, Reza.
Thank you, Christian. Any last word to our audience?
No, just thanks again for the opportunity. We are very lucky to have the most active community on the planet. We're very proud of what we've done with Power BI. It's 10-year birthday right now, and it's gone to the most popular, well-used BI product on the market. But as I said before, we're not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to keep pushing with Power BI as a first-class citizen of Fabric, and we couldn't do it without the community. We're just so grateful for you and the community, and the close relationship that we have. And we have the most creative community on the planet as well. Like some of the things that the community comes up with, some of these external tools, some of the stuff that Gerhard Brucko is putting into VS Code to integrate with Fabric, it just blows my mind. So we're very grateful for all of the innovation that comes from the community as well.
Thank you, and we are very grateful of all the work you and the team are doing, which feels us to be home with your product, which is amazing. Awesome. Thank you for your time, Christian. Really was really helpful, and hopefully we'll have this conversation again after some time with some new announcement. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I hope you also enjoyed this. Put your comments down below, and until the next video, bye.
Thank you. See ya.